Before we get into today's video, we want to thank you for watching Pique Curiosity. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified for all your new uploads and to support the work we're doing on the channel to provide you with the entertainment for trillions of light years to come.
An amazing story about how a she-wolf living with a lonely old man protected him from robbers without being afraid to give her life. Ivan Androvich, his life changed when his wife, whom he loved so much, passed away, abandoning his only daughter and leaving him to live in the village alone. The old man is over 70 years old. The grandfather was never lucky. His only dog, who lived with him for more than 20 years, he also passed away, leaving Evan alone in his home. The house of Ivan Androvich was located on a hill and overlooks the village, and the backside overlooks the forest and a beautiful river that passes from there, which made everyone envy the man for his beautiful house, where some of his friends came to drink tea on the balcony of the house, and they enjoyed nature. When Androvich is alone at home in the winter, he likes to stay at the window and watch the snow. He loves nature very much since he was young, and although he worked in the neighboring city as a nurse, however, he could not live in the city and kept going during the day to work and back home in the evening until you got your retirement. The strange thing about this old man is that he used to keep a wolf in his house and considered it like a domestic animal. The man loved the animal and took care of it, but made sure that no one would discover it. He trained a wolf to hide under the table and not move when guests came to him, which is what the wolf used to do well. As soon as the old man gives her the signal when someone comes to his house, the wolf disappears and does not make any sound until the grandfather gives her the signal indicating that the guest has left. The story of this wolf goes back 4 years ago when Ivan Androvich left the house and was very sad about leaving his dog, which lived with him for 20 years, as they had a strong friendship. The grandfather was walking in the woods and remembering the lovely moments he was spending with his dog in the woods, and suddenly he found a little wolf lying on the ground. At first, the old man thought that the little wolf was dead, but when he approached him to make sure of the matter, he found that he was still alive, as the poor animal was moaning and breathing with difficulty, and his leg was broken and in severe pain. Ivan Androvich carried the little wolf in his hands and took it to his house to try to save it. His experience as a nurse helped him treat the little animal. He had to bandage his wounds and tie his broken leg. Then he immediately went to town and bought some medicine from there to treat the little wolf. Androvich was able to help the little wolf, and when he noticed that his condition had improved, he brought him some food and milk. Then he put him down and let him sleep. The little animal slept for more than 10 hours, and then when he got it up, it felt better. When the old man examined him well, he discovered that he was a female and not a male as he had thought. The grandfather found that the little wolf was very playful and was jumping and playing in the house, breaking the frightening silence that haunted his house because Androvich was living alone. The old man was interacting with everything that this little wolf, called Maknata, was doing, as he played with it all the time, caressed it, and made sure to feed and wash it. With the passage of time, the grandfather loved the animal and became unable to leave him. For his part, the wolf became a close friend, because he saved her life and continued to take care of her until she fully recovered. After 3 months, the grandfather noticed that the lupus had grown and was able to take care of itself, and he decided to send it back to the forest. He was unable to get rid of the wolf female, as she refused to leave the grandfather's house, as the grandfather tried to drag her to the forest and left her there, but she was following him in the woods and wanted to return home. Androvich had to hit the wolf, so the wolf left. The grandfather was very lamented about the wolf's departure, because he loved it and clung to it just as he had done with his dead dog. And when he returned home, he stayed on the balcony drinking tea and remembered the poor wolf when she was insisting on returning home with him. Those few hours that Ivan Androvich had left were enough to miss her, but he knew that he had no right to prevent her from living in her world. When the grandfather got up early in the morning as usual to drink tea on the balcony of the house and inhale the fresh air, he was surprised when he saw a female wolf, Maknata, at the door of the house and was waiting for him to come to open the door. Grandfather, hurriedly shouting her name, opened the door, then firmly embraced her. The grandfather noticed that the wolf entered the kitchen and liked to sit under the table. And since he was forced to transfer the wolf to a small room in the house whenever the guests came to him, it would enter under the table and remain there without making a sound. The clever wolf was quick to understand, and she followed ocdBXq's instructions very well. News spread in the village saying that a group of prisoners had escaped from the prison, which is located not far from the village, and that they formed a gang and had weapons and attacked, and that they infiltrated homes and stole everything they found on their way. Thieves spread terror in the hearts of all the villagers, as they took advantage of the absence of a police station in the village to control it. Although the police came several times to search for these escaped prisoners, they were not able to arrest them. The thieves learned that Grandfather ocdBXq lives alone in his house, and one day they went there, on a rainy night, and secretly entered the house and seized some things. But the grandfather discovered something strange, and when they reached the door, the grandfather gave the signal to Machnata as she came out from under the table in the kitchen, attacked the thieves, and tried to stop them, while the grandfather went to get his weapon. The thieves struck the poor dog, which confronted them and caused them wounds with knives that they carried in their hands, and left her lying on the ground. But the grandfather appeared at that moment and threatened the thieves to shoot if they did not stop their place and leave all the things they stole. It was then that these men had to put everything on the ground and quickly left. The grandfather found that the wolf was wounded and bleeding from its head and stomach. Then he brought the medicine box and treated her wounds, then took it home. After Ivan ocdBXq treated his dog and recovered, he called the city police and gave them important details about these thieves, which helped them arrest them while they slept in an abandoned house outside the village. The grandfather became more careful, watching his house and waking up several times in the night to check around the house. As the days went by, Machnata made strange moves, as if she wanted to go to the woods. Then Andre realizes that she might want to return to the forest in order to have children. Indeed, the wolf is gone and has not returned. The grandfather felt sad about the parting of the wolf, but he knew that she was smart, wise, and well aware of what she was doing. He coped with the absence of Machnata, who was a good friend to him and was loyal and sincere. After 3 months, the grandfather was sitting on the balcony of the house and reading the newspaper, and suddenly a wolf appeared approaching his house, and the little pups were following it. The grandfather brought his weapon and returned to his place, and kept watching the animals as they approached his house. Then he discovered that they were Machnata and puppies. The grandfather decided to build a small wooden house in his yard, and he allowed Machnata and her pups to live in it. The wolf used to go with its young to the woods during the day, and when darkness fell, it would return to sleep in the house that Grandfather Ivan ocdBXq had built for her.